Hey everybody. Um, let's pull a reading. It's going to be, this is the second reading, the beginning of a series, the second type of reading that is going to pull from areas of our being, parts of us that might still be under the influence of a childhood trauma. That's the best way that I can describe it. But first of all, psychology is really important to understand ourselves and to understand tarot. We can't really have a big frame of reference in terms of actions and responses and types of people without understanding perceptions of the world and behaviors that are different than our own, right? And because we don't have every personality in one body, hopefully, then we have to study in order to see how people operate. There's definitely psychology in tarot. So that being said, there is a particularly interesting practice in psychology that looks at the inner child. I'm sure y'all have heard of it. It's been around for decades, but there is a specific method of practice and of working with this inner child that's called internal family systems. And I highly recommend Richard Schwartz's book, No Bad Parts. We're not going to get to that level of depth, and we're definitely, this is not a channel that is going to therapize, but rather, like I said at the beginning, what we're looking at is the parts of you that are being affected by maybe traumas that exist still inside you from childhood. Okay? They do. Regardless, it's just a matter of how we recognize them and how much of a role they play in our behaviors that's important. Okay, so I highly recommend the book No Bad Parts by Richard Schwartz. Please read it. Please do the work. It's part workbook as well. It's fantastic. You will come to such a better understanding of your motives and your emotional response to maybe inappropriate emotional responses to things. So, yes, this is not going to be the easiest reading for me. And I know that this will not be the most successful series on this channel ever, regardless of how many eventual subs I get. But this is important to me, so that's why I'm doing it. So there. So I did shuffle. I am using the kids' tarot, and I shuffled, 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 and we have the Queen of Cups. These cards really like going back in their own suits. I shuffled and shuffled, and then I shuffled again. I looked at all the cards. They went back to their suits, and then I shuffled more, and they went... It's very weird. But anyway, we have the Queen of Cups on the bottom, and she's a beautiful little mermaid. Usually the cups will have a water element. Water ties to the water sign, ties to emotional, ties to love, particularly love. And the Queen of Cups is the Mother of Cups, is the mother figure, the loving figure. And this one is particularly nice. I really like the little, whatever she's got, it looks like a little book or something in her hands. All right, let's do this, you guys. Okay. We have the Six of Pentacles in this case, coins if you prefer. We have the World. A Love card, which is the Lover's card, of course. But these are children, after all. PG 13. Okay. More like PG. The Empress and the Knight of Swords. And underneath all that is the Five of Pentacles. Although you notice they did, this is fascinating because they put the pentagram on that, on only that one. Of all the Pentacles cards, that's the only one that has the pentagram. Interesting. So, I'm so sorry for the silence, but it's a little bit difficult because I want to approach this with respect and recognize that this is not for everyone. This is maybe for a couple of people who actually care and who will watch this. So the cards are telling me that it is a mother wound. So there's either, I'm going to say it was neglect rather than abandonment. So there's some abandonment from mother. And I think that it's difficult because what you expected was, you expected a lot. And the expectation didn't come out of thin air. So the child, let's say the child rather than you. So the child expected a lot, and it wasn't an unrealistic expectation, because I think the message behind the love and the message behind the day-to-day life, and as the child grew up, I think the message was to expect a lot. And it's not even that wasn't achieved, but there was neglect from then that mother figure. I don't know if this was one particular event. I don't think it was. I think it was a lot of little events. A lot of little events that there's definitely money exchanged, and I don't know whether it's from the child to the mother or the mother to the child. I mean, that's pretty easy to say, Rose, right? Pretty easy to say. Almost everyone has given their mother money, or their mother has given them money, so pretty cheap shot, I understand. But it's very specific here. It's not your normal circumstance of mother helping kid through college, or kid paying for Mother's Day brunch. There's something else here, almost like this is probably just for like one person, which is fine. If it helps one person, then wonderful. But I'm almost getting like this exchange of money was maybe later in life and unbalanced. So maybe it was either when the child was far old enough to take care of themselves, or the mother was elderly. The child had to completely take over the finances of the mother. Now that happens a lot too. So, I mean, in its way, unfortunately. But what I'm getting here, what's coming out to me is that you're still, you, the child, grown up now vis-a-vis you, and this child are still waiting for the promises to come to pass. Like Like there were promises made in love that have not yet been fulfilled. Promises were made and not kept. Promises were made and not kept. But but it's like the expectation is that they will be still, that they will still be. And for all I know, the child's mother could be deceased, and it's impossible to do that in the 3D then to fulfill, to make sure these promises are kept. This is really weird, so I'm definitely gonna pull some clarifier. I mean, I want to pull on the world because I want to know more about these promises that were made. I mean, there's a lot of major arcana. This is definitely stuff that you had no control over as a child, okay? And I think that the child is still infantilized quite a bit. So whether it's cultural or just the dynamics of the relationship, if this dynamic still exists for you as an adult, I think the potential is that the mother figure still treats the adult child like a child in many ways. There isn't that respect. I get really uncomfortable when I even just think that, but oh, it gives me shivers. It's almost like there's a fist wrapped in a hug. I don't, if that makes sense to anybody. I feel like there's fists underneath hugs. So on the outside, there's this love and there's this maternal thing and there's this relationship, but underneath there's promises that aren't kept and there's this infantilizing of adults, whether you're the only child or not. It's very uncomfortable. It's a very, I don't know how you live with it all the time. If this is you, I don't know how you live with it all the time. Okay, so I've got the shuffle. I'm scared. We have the Empress. At one point, you really thought the world of them. You really thought the world of them at one point. You thought that was something you could base all of your life on. Mm-hmm. 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 Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so there's also this book called Silently Seduced, and I'm forgetting the author right now. This is deep, y'all. So I don't even know if I don't know what I'm doing putting this on the freaking internet and YouTube. So, okay, let's just be adults. We can be adults. So there's this book called Silently Seduced, and it is based on a particular disorder that sort of happens when a mother, especially, but also a father, but a parental figure doesn't get remarried after a divorce, or doesn't get into a relationship because they have a child who can be their spouse. Okay, this happens a lot. It happens a lot with millennials, especially, just because of the way the culture is and how hard it is to get remarried, and how many people get divorced. So it creates a lot of relationship wounds for the children because their parents make them, whether it's a mother and son, it's always the dynamic of mother and son or father and daughter. Okay. And that's the problem because they become emotional spouses. So, for example, the father would count on the daughter for choosing their outfits to go to work, for making the right choices for dinner, basically making them the wife. And the same can happen for mothers who have a son who they take as their emotional spouse if they get divorced or their husband dies. It happens a lot more than you would think, and it's so damaging. It's almost like you have to do, if this is you, like you have to do real work with a trained psychologist or psychiatrist to unfurl that programming. You're basically programmed to be your mother's husband, or you're programmed to be your father's wife. And it makes it impossible for you to have your own relationship when it's ready for you to have, when it's time for you to have an adult relationship. Or you try desperately and somehow it always gets ruined because you are married to your parent. And gosh, I have such deep empathy for anyone in that position. And I'm so sorry that would happen to you. That's what I'm getting off of this poll of the world. So the world isn't as cute and as tarot for kidsy as it looks. There's something sinister about the world because it's the promise and the choice of a relationship. And in this case, I see the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Cups. In some decks, this is the Mother of Wands and the Son of Cups. Do you see what I'm saying here? There's this dynamic here that I pulled in the cards. And I think that that's definitely something to look at. If you feel like your mother or your father relied on you a lot because they didn't remarry after a divorce or a death of their spouse, I would definitely start to evaluate that with a trained professional and see if maybe you're not, if you're not dealing with those traumas. And then I know it's going to open a can of worms, of course, and you're going to have to, if your parent is still living, you're going to have to redefine the relationship. Okay, Pepita. Oh my gosh. So that being said, and that's really deep, okay? That's a lot. So the other thing that I'm noticing in the Lovers card is, I think if this is the case, and if this is you, I'm just going to run with it, okay? I'm just going to run with this idea that this silent emotional seduction of your parental figure made you emotionally married to your parents. And, we're adults, right? So what I see in the child's deck, going back to the child inside of us, is that is preventing you from making any real connection. Like you want to make a connection with another person, with a partner, with someone who can support you and not be your mother or father. And it's there. You feel the potential for it, but it's just not happening. It's not happening. It's like all I see is these two kids going in a circle and a circle and a circle, and they're literally moving how I see it. And then they're barely touching hands in the middle. They're not, this is the kids' deck, let's be real, but Whew, that's a lot. I'm gonna get. I was gonna get a little darker, but I'm not. I'm gonna get to the light seers. To the light seers, and I want to pull on the Knight of Swords, okay? Because the Knight of Swords is what right now feels like. I want to say feels like a little bit of future energy, a little bit of prediction. So let's pull. Why is the Knight of Swords here? What is the Knight of Swords used for this reading? I'm well aware that nobody else is watching at this point, so I'm just gonna pull on whatever I want to, because I'm sure everybody's already, anyone who's watched this has already turned away. It's very hard to deal with stuff like this because, okay, in this culture, especially Alpha, Gen Alpha, they have self-diagnosed every goddamn thing, and so-and-so's a narcissist, and so-and-so's, you know, this and that. And it ends up, I don't know, I think the kids, they get a lot of credit for self-awareness. But if that's all you do, you self-diagnose, and you self-diagnose potentially incorrectly, and then you never get professional help about it, is that really helping? I don't know. I mean, it's whatever you want to learn about and think about, but be careful what you ascribe to yourself. So, you know, as you go through this reading, as you think about the things that I brought up, if you think about them, take it with a grain of salt. And it's always a better idea to let somebody else do the diagnosing, somebody who's been in school and read 1,000 case studies and understands little nuances that you don't, that aren't in the DSM-5, which is a diagnostic manual for psychiatric disorders. Psychiatric. It's hard. It's really, really hard. I find myself like struggling with imposter syndrome right now. So I wonder, what's this kid doing? All right, King of Pentacles. Okay, why else is he here? And what's under this? Yeah. You're just gonna ignore it anyway. Even if you watch this, you're gonna ignore it. I hope not, but it really looks like that. It looks like you have the potential to just continue to hold on to these things for now. For now. I have hope. I have hope that in the future you'll lean in really hard to discovering how you're built the way you're built, mentally and emotionally. And maybe you can attribute some of those things to the way that you were raised or what you expected from parents and what you received. And that's all it is. It's really simple. It's not too scary, really. And then, you know, when you're an adult, you get to take care of yourself. So yeah, it can be really hard to deal with stuff like that. But you're still you. You're still you. You can change or you cannot change. It's up to you. It's up to you. Let's just pull 3 cards. I kind of want to just like, because I've given you a lot of information and a lot of it is uncomfortable. And I don't even know if I'm going to do a short about this because it's not controversial, but I don't want to give anybody a tiny bit of information that might not be so helpful. I'm pulling from the Crows now, and I want to pull on this Love card. Let's do that, huh? Let's pull on this Lover's card. Ooh, my voice. Excuse me. I'm gonna pull on Lover's card and see, you know, what's going on with you now? What's happening in the love department now, and can you fix it? Will it? Is there hope? Is there hope? She's like, would you stop asking me? The universe is like, you're gonna shuffle for how long? Oh my God. Yeah, I had a really great day, y'all. It was so good. It wasn't easy at all. It was very challenging on every single level. But you know what made the difference? I don't care. That's what made the difference. Like when the struggle bus came to pick me up, I was like, nope, I'll walk, thanks. And I just did everything I needed to do. Didn't do more than I needed to do. Didn't do less. Did everything I needed to do. Did it with compassion. Did it with empathy. And a little bit of grace, hopefully. All right. Oh, yeah. This is not what I want, but it's what's there. We have the Fool. We have the Queen of Swords. Determined and waiting. Yeah. 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 Determined and waiting. For what? Determined in stoic and determined and cold. Extremely slow moving action, barely, icicles, cold. Brokenhearted, continuously brokenhearted. Like, people don't know the levels of brokenheartedness that you are. You haven't ever told anyone the level of broken that your heart is from years and years and years and years and years and years. Nope. You keep it a secret. So, my recommendation to you, if you've made it this long in the video, you are something else. I love you very much. Read Richard Schwartz, No Bad Parts. Read, if you dare, Silently Seduced. I forget the name of the author. You can put it in Amazon. That is a very small book. Casually read it. If it resonates, it resonates. And then tell somebody. Tell somebody and fucking cry about it. Tell someone who you trust. Not this person. But tell somebody who you trust. A friend. Even a lover who you trust will hold you and cry and tell them about the many, 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 many years your heart has been broken. Get out of this box that you've put yourself in the moon. The secrets, the darkness, the shadows. Always afraid of turning the next corner, running into something or somebody who will reopen those wounds. Oh my gosh. If you're following me, if you've subbed to my channel, you know I'm not crystal girl, crystals and unicorns and rainbows girl, okay? You know there's a level of depth, and you know that I look at the shadow side and I look at the light side. This month is particularly shadowy, and that's why we've got to keep ourselves up. And so, yeah, I hope this helped somebody, and know that there is a great deal of love for you in this world, And if you put the work in, you'll understand such a profound level of self-love that can carry you through this, and you'll find that you're the only one who can really solve this. Other people can help, but that comes from inside. Good luck, y'all.